Welcome back to the show. Sadly, we have had some difficulty with some of our cloud service access lately, as well as Riley celebrating his 2-year anniversary with his wife, not to mention Labor Day weekend. But we are back and we'll get right into it. So Netflix is basically pawning off the last of their DVD inventory to any remaining subscribers. Starting September 29th, if you rent any DVDs from Netflix, it states that you are under no obligation to send them back and would not be charged for refusing to do so. Their post on X also mentions that any DVD subscribers are eligible to enter for a chance to win an additional 10 movies for you to keep, if you so desire.
Pretty cool.
So seems like a nice way to close out that service. Obviously, they're shutting down their DVD subscription service there, but at the same time, it's just a logical way for them not to get stuck with a multitude of discs that they've acquired over the years.
Yeah, it's been a long time coming because everything is like streamed online.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And who knew subscribers get to benefit from that? So.
Yeah, I know, right? Winning those 10 DVDs. Hey, those could be worth something someday. You never know. On the heels of Samsung Galaxy Unfold event in August, we have at least 2 more much anticipated events coming. Yep. Both of which are concerning the mobile tech community here in the States. One is right in our sights on the 12th, which is this upcoming Tuesday with Apple's next-gen iPhone event entitled Wonderlust. It's a very interesting name right there. We've covered nearly every rumor and realistic expectations for the iPhone 15s, along with some other possible releases. So we talked about USB-C, iPhone battery, a possible update to the camera, smaller bezels, all that kind of stuff. You guys pretty much know it if you've listened to us for the last few months. So. But yeah, it'll be I'm interested to see what other stuff, if there's maybe a one more thing maybe.
And that doesn't really lead to the fact that I'm indifferent about the event. It's just kind of, I don't know, from what I've heard, it doesn't really seem all that amazing. So I am kind of hoping for something else that maybe we haven't thought of or hasn't been, rumored. So although the title does kind of leave me a little bit guessing.
It is an intriguing title because I would have never thought.
Wonderlust. I'm like, I wonder what I'm supposed to be lusting.
No, this actually, you bring up a good, interesting point here real quick that I wanted to mention because I was actually watching a video by the Game Theorist. I think I showed you a video of his, Matthew Patterson on YouTube. Yep. And he was talking about Disney and the decline of it because Disney literally uploads and puts on so many movies. It's like quantity over quality. Yeah. And they deliver so much content, but it's not that great. And I feel like that's kind of where we are with Apple right now. I kind of harped on it a bit in past episodes. But, we're not as excited as we used to be for Apple events, just mainly because they're every year and little by little they add stuff, which is fine, but that's just
I mean, I guess I can see where that's going. I personally wouldn't have put it akin to Disney necessarily because I feel like their quality is just downgraded all over the place, whereas Apple, their quality is still there, but I see what you're saying though. It kind of does affect the intrigue, the interest.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying Apple's quality is horrible. It's demotivating.
Yeah, the very original iPhone aspect of it all, where it has that fresh feel to it. So no, I see where you're coming from. But actually, on a side note, we had some speculation that there may be some updates to all Apple retail stores that night of the 12th. Which could imply that we might have some new or revised products ready for availability potentially the next day.
Oh, wow. That'd be a first.
My guess is that, I think that this is more so in reference to the refreshed USB-C ported AirPods Pro 2s. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Okay. I doubt it would have anything to do with the iPhones, as they have typically been slated for a little bit later after the event versus like the next day. But that is definitely something to detail. So, but you're actually referring to 2 events, and the other one is Google's fall keynote set to take place on October 4th, where we expect to see the Pixel 8 and 8 Pro. And once again, I'm kind of looking forward to Google's event more than Apple's, as I
agree.
Hinted at. As someone who actually is an avid iPhone user, there's just something that intrigues me more about the Pixel line than the iPhone.
100%.
Even though we've had many rumors regarding both next-gen smartphones from the 2 competitors, that's just kind of where I sit. So I'm not really sure if you have a preference on either event or for maybe which product you are more excited about, but I'm definitely on the Google side.
I just always feel like, at least for Google the past few years, yes, they release a product yearly, but there's always something that's interesting about it. Like I always want to know, okay, what are they going to add? Even though, as I'll mention here in a bit here, Google has always been known to leak literally everything. But
Yes.
besides that point, it's just, I feel more like guessing and almost a wonder with that actually, than Apple. So, what product for?
I mean, it's basically what we know of rumored. Yeah.
Yeah,
We don't.
for Google, probably obviously the Pixel. I really don't know.
Yeah, well, that's the other thing is like I feel like they do a better job with integrating some of their software to it as well, because it's not just all revealed on Android 14 with the Google I/O.
Yeah.
You kind of get to see some of what they've adjusted and how to implement that with their Pixel phones too. So that's kind of where it comes from as well, because they do a great job of integrating the hardware and the software in that event. So I kind of feel like they hold back a little bit on I/O, even though that event is long in and of itself.
Yeah.
So, and I mean, we already had the Pixel Fold as well. So it really is just the 8 and the 8.
Well, yeah. So speaking of, how we know Google tends to leak things on their own. Literally with every other company, everyone has to dig through like source codes and, all types of data in the phone to find things. Google just gives it to you. But they've done it again. In a sighting on the Google Store website, a ex-user by the name of Miskal Rahman, I don't think I pronounced that correctly, says that he spotted an image of the Pixel 8 Pro porcelain variant on the phone plan section of Google Fi Wireless. In the image, you can actually see a person holding this special model, and this is made even clearer when looking into the image description, and it says, a person takes a call on the Pixel Pro phone in porcelain. Could not be any more clearer. At this point, I am convinced that Google just wants to give us sneak peeks and get users excited for the product, but not want it to make it look like they are giving us sneak peeks to make users excited for their products. Regardless, this does confirm that the porcelain color will be part of the main lineup with the other two, Licorice and Sky.
Yeah.
So, thoughts on the Google Leak 8 Pro?
So is the porcelain similar to their 7 Pro colored snow, or is that like a
pretty much? It's just their white variant essentially. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if they like changed maybe some reflection or.
Yeah, I think it's a little like slightly hint of like brown to it, but it's very light. So it's probably, it might be just like their Pixel Fold porcelain color. I think that's actually what the article described. Yes.
I mean, I'm sure the listeners are probably thinking, yeah, that's kind of obvious, but I was just kind of curious. So, but going back to kind of what you were saying as far as like how you feel like they're intentionally leaking them, it really wouldn't surprise me. This is speculating here. I feel like they went down the road of the iPhone 4S and how Steve Jobs was so ticked off that it was already revealed, that they're kind of like, well, that really did gain so much, popularity, or maybe not even popularity, but just traction in the media.
Yeah.
Why not? Fair. Let's kind of like what you're saying is like, why not just get these people engaged a month ahead of time, So I can definitely tell where you're coming from on that one. So, but I really feel like this is like a Google episode, maybe a little bit Apple in there, but Google is actually working on plans to deliver virtual app access without the need for a virtual machine or virtual desktop on Chrome OS. Collaborating with the virtual software company Cameyo, Google's efforts to bring desktop apps to Chrome OS is done in a seamless manner from a consumer and user standpoint. This means that you could potentially have application access from contributors or developers like Linux, software as a service, and Microsoft with their host of Office suite programs at your fingertips without having the need for virtual desktop, which I thought was really great.
That is, yeah.
Because I just feel like it would take out so many steps. And I mean, obviously this is up to the developer, but it's definitely a step in the right direction and would essentially reduce the time and frustration to access those applications. So, and
there'd probably be a lot of, I mean, you can even imagine how much more things that you can apply that to.
Yeah, they kind of opened that portal. So
yeah, like massively. Yeah. Really hope this improves a lot more. Not really much. I don't really have a whole lot to say about that, but it definitely is a really cool spec.
Yeah, I mean, we're not Chromebook users, so it's
no, we're not.
It kind of is what it is, but I've actually tried. I've actually installed Chrome OS on my other laptop, and I like it. But yeah,
There is a rumor going around from a sketchy article stating that Apple may release a MacBook that is more suited for lower income consumers. This would apparently be in a lower price bracket with that of a Chromebook.
ironically.
And from what this source indicates, I don't know, it's such a weird speculation. Quote, major suppliers, Quanta Computer and Hanhai Precision Industry, or Foxconn, show no signs of related activity. Therefore, chances the product would launch in the first half of 2024 are unlikely. These are very broad claims to make, and weird ones at that.
Yeah.
I have a good bit to say to this response in terms of like logistics and reality. But I am kind of curious as to what you think of this strange quote unquote report.
I think it's really, really cool. I like the idea.
Oh yeah, no, I love the idea.
The fact that they can. Now I need to reword that because this is just a kind of a report or a rumor, but to speculate the idea of them offering a Mac OS embedded computer at a lower cost would be pretty impressive, and you could probably bet that it would be either an M series or you could maybe argue they might put an A series, but I'm kind of skeptical on that one.
I was actually talking to my wife about this, and I said it would probably be the M1 chip because that's normally how they do this type of thing, like with the SE.
Yes, I could see that. Yep. Or like maybe a dumbed down version of an M1.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
Like that,
they might do like an
it.
M1 Lite or something like that. Because you know how, like with the SE, they normally have like it's like 2 chips behind or 1 chip behind. Just because I mean you're paying for a lower price, which makes sense. Yeah, no, I totally agree.
Did they say like this would be in the line of like a Mac Mini, or are we talking higher into like $700 or $800?
See, that's the thing. The report was very thin on information, which kind of shows you just how really unstable and unreliable this specific article was.
I mean, I think it's worth. I agree. I like the fact that you actually put this on the set list for this show, just because it's something to consider, and it actually would even beg the question: is this something that Apple should do? And I would totally agree that they should, because
yes, I would agree they should definitely do it.
A lot of their computers are in that $1,000 range, especially when it comes to laptops. So you would have to be buying a Mac Mini to get into there, and I'd love to see something anywhere between $400 to $700 as far as like a MacBook Lite or something. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. But like, here's the thing: when you make a claim to be in the same sort of pool with Chromebooks, those things are normally like $200. I don't see Apple making a MacBook that's less than $200.
No,
I'm just gonna be straight up honest with you. Probably like maybe $500, maybe $700.
Exactly.
That seems reasonable. But just to say like similar to the positioning of Chromebooks, like what are you even talking about? Those things are like used for educational purposes most of the time. And that's actually what this article indicates, is like those things are like mainstream for that, where people over major lesser income are able to use those and utilize those in their day-to-day process. Like for a MacBook, you use those for like extreme intense workflow or like 3D modeling, like heavy video editing, stuff like that. It's just this weird, and this is why I feel like this specific article that, you know, the 9to5 Mac pulled out here is just so vague and so weird, and the claims that they're making is just like unevidential, if that's even a word.
I mean, I don't know what else you could actually technically compare it to, because what else do you actually have that is in that midstream laptop category that people know of, that I should, you know, because I mean, it's either you have like these $1,000 Galaxy tabs, or you have like the Galaxy books. I suppose you could do it like that, but even then, those are, you know, a lot of those are above $1,000. So I don't know. Do you actually have a model that you're thinking of that would be in that price range that would be a good comparison that people would know about?
Yeah, actually, there's a bit of research I've been doing for my church, because we want to get some stuff and we need a new laptop. And I researched this one. It's the HP 15.6-inch Core i5 11th Gen laptop. And I know that's a mouthful. But it runs the benchmarks for like, I think, 78%, and it's got 1,000 gigs of storage, 16 gigs of RAM, It's got that amazing chip in there, and it's like $560. Like, that's pretty good, and especially that Intel processor and those 16 gigs of RAM is going to go a long way. So we're talking mid-tier HP stuff, like your laptop that you got originally.
Yeah, I mean that's I can see what you're saying there, and I mean you could probably put that across the board with anything from like maybe Asus or Dell.
Yeah,
but I mean that's just the point is like people kind of cater to a specific model, so you can't really say like it's an HP 15DXMC or something like that. I think that's what they were trying to do. So I think it was more of their way of saying it's a dumbed down MacBook or MacBook Pro. That's, you know, for a general lower income family. That's kind of my take on it. So maybe you disagree on some level, I'm guessing, but
I kind of understand what you're saying. But they also mentioned, quote, allowing for a more affordable price aimed at the education market, similar to that position. I should have mentioned that before, but I didn't. But it's
education
like
market. Okay.
their iPads are like the main selling point for educational markets because that's where people mostly use it. They wouldn't really buy a MacBook for education. That's educational.
Okay,
purposes.
I can see where you're coming from, but at the same time, I feel like they could utilize the cost for components and such that would be typically allocated for the touchscreen of an iPad to do something else on a MacBook. So that's kind of where, because the touchscreen does cost quite a bit of money when it comes to factoring in those supply chains and stuff like that. So I kind of see where that is going. But this is kind of funny because even though this is such a vague and I'm just going to say it, unreliable article and source, it still heightens my interest. So
yeah, agreed. For sure. It's just a lot to consider.
Honestly,
I would love to actually see this be a reality.
Oh, same here. Absolutely.
In the future. That way there's because then you also, because you mentioned is like there's people that are already kind of set into like Asus, HP, Lenovo, all that kind of stuff. But if you think about it, if you have a laptop that's for that lower income class or whatever that they can afford, you might actually get more users to hop onto that train. Is my
MacBook SE.
MacBook SE. Yes, that's actually what I was thinking. And this is one of the instances. Normally, we say like whenever Apple adds an extra device to their lineup, like the iPad series, the iPhones, it's always like too much. I feel like, but I think with laptops, that's a little bit different. That's on like a whole different spectrum there because
I feel like it's already overpopulated anyway, so I don't think it matters.
Well, yeah, and they're always so expensive. I feel like you do need an SE version because that way it's like you have an M1 chip that was released a few years ago.
I agree.
A lot more people can get into it and see like, hey, if this is something I might be interested in actually upgrading to the main line of the MacBooks. You know, I feel like 100% Steve Jobs would, if he was here today, he would totally be for like releasing something that more people would be able to get into, but you know.
Yeah, I guess my only question to close out that topic would be kind of, it said the educational side of things, so it's making me wonder, is there going to be some sort of barrier from the main consumer, and would this be more so directly associated with schools and universities? That's my final thought on this, because the way you word that makes me really wonder.
Yeah. Well, the way they word that makes you really wonder. It's like, it's just, I mean, that was literally coming from the article, so I don't know. But yeah, it is a really interesting thing to think about and to kind of ponder. So,
yep. But we'll go ahead and kick off to deals, and I'll start off with, actually, I own a Roomba. So this one is the iRobot Roomba i3 Evo. It's the 3550. So this one actually includes the self-emptying tower that you can get, which sometimes they actually sell that by itself, but which is what I had to do with my i7. This one is down from $550 to $400. So $150, which is right around 27%. So
sweet. We also got the Beat Studio Pro. These actually were just released, I think, recently. That's the 40 hours battery life, USB-C, lossless audio, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
It's on sale on Amazon for $250 from $350, so that's a $100 price cut right there. And I think that's on pretty much any variant color. Yeah, any variant color that you can get. It still has that $100 price tag. So
that's also an ANC model, so that's good to have.
But moving along here to our mainstream of news, this one is really cool. I might think about this, but we've seen a lot from companies regarding handheld devices, specifically consoles. And Nintendo, being the first to debut theirs, has essentially dominated this area of gaming for a while now. However, I think, in my personal opinion, this newest handheld console will be a major game changer and may give Nintendo a run for their money. The Lenovo Legion Go has been unleashed, and let me tell you, this thing is a monster. I'll first start with the specs, and I'll kind of explain some interesting features about this, because it's just crazy. It runs an 8.8-inch IPS, which is bigger than even the Steam Dock. It's 2560 by 1600 screen resolution. It's got QHD+, 144 Hz refresh rate. The processor it goes up to from an AMD Ryzen Z1 to a Z1 Extreme, which, by the way, the Z1 Extreme has a benchmark of 86%. If that tells you anything, that's almost as crazy as your laptop, JD. And then also has 16 gigs of RAM. For the storage, you can go from 256, 512, 1 terabyte to 2 terabyte for a micro SD slot. And connectivity, this is actually interesting. Connectivity, you have Wi-Fi 6E, as normal, you expect that. Bluetooth 5.2, you have 2 USB-C outputs, and you have the option for cellular data, 5G LTE, which is crazy. Wow. Yeah, you have 2W speakers. It runs Windows 11 Home. That's the main software it uses for all the games and stuff like that. For the power, you have a 2-cell 49 watt-hours, 900 milliamp controller battery. And then, unlike the Steam Deck, the Joy-Cons are removable. It also has a quiet mode, and yeah, trust me, with quad cooling fans, you're going to need that. This thing is actually apparently pretty loud. Also, there is this one feature, and I still don't understand it fully, but basically there's a kind of this placement, I forget what it's called. It comes with a device where you can put your Joy-Cons on and kind of move it, and it has these sensors on the bottom that move kind of like a mouse, so that way it's a lot more adapted and easier, more efficient to use. And then, interesting thing about this comes separately, but you can order headphones and then AR glasses, which is cool. Crazy to me, because there's been, as far as I know, there's no other console that even does that, where you can utilize AR glasses. There's a whole bunch more to talk about this, but the price for this is $700. Now, from just saying all that, do you think that price is reasonable?
I guess based on specs, yeah. It's kind of an interesting thing with Lenovo. When the rubber meets the road and you kind of get to their horsepower and processing and such like that, sometimes it makes you question.
That's true.
I mean, overall, it does look good. I don't know. I feel like it's something that we should have. Something else to add to what Nintendo offers. And we'll just skip PlayStation because that doesn't even count. So this actually really does seem to be the main competitor, because I really can't tell what other product out there would compete with it. I mean, of course, like you said, the Steam Deck is there, and I think there's another handheld device out there as well. And I mean, anytime you kind of throw in stuff like AR and VR, it kind of makes you question how effective,
how really valid
and true to form it's going to be. Yeah. So, I mean, that would obviously be another concern of mine. But yeah, it really does kind of remind me of, or I guess if you want to put a play on words, kind of like a PC Switch of some sort. So yeah, did they say so that's already available, or are they in pre-order stage right now?
Not yet. It's available, I think, October 6th, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just check that just to verify. In October 2023, sometime in there. Yep.
Well, I mean, $700, that would probably be definitely something we'll have in our arsenal to test out. So
for sure.
We could certainly give some feedback on that once we get that in our hands and kind of game on with Xbox Game Pass. So,
one more quick thing I forgot to mention: the glasses are $329 and the headphones are $50.
Okay, glasses make sense on that pricing. I feel like that really does need to be a little bit higher, especially if you were trying to push that type of quality. Because if it's like $99, then that really would make you question what the heck they're trying to do.
Yeah, so. I know. That tells you that. I mean, it's gonna be pretty good. comparison to
Yeah, I
some
mean, in
other
theory,
things, but
everything on paper kind of does look good. So I'm always one of those skeptical people.
we'll just have to see. There's already reviews, I think,
Yeah.
because people have already gotten their hands on it early.
The insider
but,
reviews, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm really excited about this one. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Well, this next item we have here is, it's vintage Google. I'll just say that. So,
Okay.
for those who know of this plan, Google has brought to life a way to pay for services and be part of a program that would allow you to upgrade to a new Pixel phone every 2 years, all for a monthly payment. The service includes YouTube Premium, cloud storage with Google One, and Google Play Pass. Well, as it seems that with one product or a plan after another, they are once again on the discontinue train here. Effectively, just recently on the 29th of August, the Pixel Pass will no longer be available. For those on the existing plan, you can still enjoy it while it lasts, but after 2 years from when your Pixel phone is shipped, you will not be able to renew the plan or upgrade to a new phone through the Pixel Pass plan. So, a bit of a bummer there because, this just kind of pulls out more doubt from within about how I feel of Google and their products. Sometimes they really, go for the long haul. You can definitely tell there's some things that they've stuck with for quite a while. But other times it's like, what were you thinking? And how come this wasn't thought out enough to continue on with it? I mean, we've seen this happen time and time again. I think the last one that got the act was Stadia. So,
yes, that was it.
Yeah. And now we're on to Pixel Pass, which I thought the idea was cool. I don't remember. I think the pricing was a little interesting. So maybe that's why they decided to just kind of move on from that. But yeah, I'm not sure if you really thought that was worth going for anyway, but I felt like it was at least nice to offer it.
I don't know. I feel like if this did go actually pretty well, you said the payment was kind of weird. But I feel like
it obviously it varied on what storage tier you had and such, and so
I feel like you really need to have that, in my opinion, just because if you really want people to be able to, unless they didn't really see a full market following to it, then I guess that makes sense. But if it was doing okay, I don't see why they should have 86'd it. But I guess.
Well, I mean, I think like you're saying, I think actually Apple does have an iPhone upgrade program that they have on their own website. So there's that too. But I don't think that incorporates any services though, because Apple One is separate from that upgrade program. So
correct. Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of thought this was a cool idea, but once again, it's just kind of Google saying, don't trust us. At least that's how I feel. But you are still able to continue paying for those services at a discounted price. But once you cancel, that's it. You're out. And I wouldn't be surprised if Google started adding on fees at a later time to make those people just, cancel to the regular pricing or whatever.
So Oppo has just released the Find N3 Flip. And let me just start by saying this is a shot at OnePlus big time. I mean, they literally took the Hasselblad camera off of the 11 Pro and just straight up installed it right in the back of their Flip. And I'm going to be honest here, I actually like the way this looks on the Flip 3 more than the 11 Pro. It feels a lot more seamless and less in your face, if that makes sense. I'm not going to go through a lot of this stuff about this particular phone, just the main updates. 50 megapixel Sony IMX890 as the primary sensor, a 48 megapixel ultra wide sensor, and a 32 megapixel telephoto, as opposed to last year where there was just a 50 and an 8 megapixel. The two cameras. So it's a massive upgrade from last year. That's really good looking right there. Another thing is that as opposed to last year's model where you were only able to use widgets, Oppo is following suit of the other big names and allowing you to utilize other apps such as WhatsApp, X, formerly Twitter, Google Apps, Spotify, and Google Calendar. Oppo has also stated that in the future they will be adding more apps for you to use on that outer display, which is great to hear. The outer display screen size is still the same, so really no change there. And as another slap in the face to OnePlus, they also added a slider, alert slider button. Just crazy.
Oh, wow. I guess I missed that one.
Yeah, it's so funny. And you will find a charger in the box, which something hardly any company does these days. Last year, Oppo took a jab at Samsung. This year, they took a massive stab to OnePlus. I mean, they see errors in other companies, and they're like, we can do better than that. And I think they really did well. I haven't seen, because they haven't released it to the public yet, but the event or whatever, at least I don't think there was one, because they usually wait about a month for it to be shown. Is that right? Or okay,
that's typically how they do. I haven't seen anything in the news yet, so I'm guessing that's what's going on. So
yeah, but I've seen some pictures because Oppo's actually released some sneak peeks of what it looks like, and I love it. I have really no issues with it. Obviously, no phone is perfect. But from just a face value, it looks really good. And I think there was mention of a rumored price being about the same as last year, which is kind of interesting if you think about it, which is like $1,132, I think. And another thing to note is that they are still using the MediaTek Dimensity processor. However, this one is the 9200 version, which apparently actually competes with the Snapdragon 8th Gen 2. So just wanted to make that clear.
Or attempts to. I guess it depends on the numbers, but yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I kind of got that feeling when the price was the same. Because if you do go to the Snapdragon, then you're probably going to see, I would say, at least a noticeable increase in price. Something along those lines. But I saw that come out, and there are some nice upgrades, the slider, and they added on, some more improvements to the camera.
Yeah.
I just didn't feel like it was, in my opinion, enough to actually make it a separate gen. I kind of felt like this was an incremental update. But that's just me. That's kind of how I was looking at it. Okay. Maybe people view it differently. So, and it really wouldn't surprise me to see a similarity when it comes to design from OnePlus and Oppo, just because they're both under BBK Electronics. But I think it just kind of makes me more excited for the OnePlus Open as far as the foldable. So and hopefully what they come up with a flip when the time comes. So, which Absolutely. I'm hoping they have a better model name for the flip than they do for the fold, because I just what's it going to be? The OnePlus Open Flip? I mean, how creative can you possibly not get? So, I know. But now, just as a preface on this next topic, I'll throw a personal shout out to our mom. So, mother, get your hubby and have him listen in, because he was actually asking about some of this. So, in past episodes, we've discussed various aspects about the NFL Sunday Ticket, YouTube acquiring the rights, some of the updates they have made to accessibility, and so on. Well, they're back at it again with some added features, payment plans, and an option for the collegiate level. First, there are some features that they have implemented. One is multi-view options. So you can watch up to 4 games at once come Sunday on one screen. So that's a little something nice to have.
Cool.
If you feel like you could pay attention to 4 games at once.
I can't, but cool.
You can interact with live chats and polls. So I'm sure there's definitely going to be some moderation on there and stuff like Big that. Time. But yeah, because you know how competition gets. So I'm actually interested in the polls and such. And then with NFL Shorts and Key Plays, you can actually see videos of highlights and game clips even before jumping in on the live game, just so you can kind of get caught up on what you missed. So I felt like that was a nice little addition as well.
Really good.
So, I mean, I feel like they've really thought about this and trying to improve what they're offering and make it feel like more of a premium product than just, we acquired the rights from the NFL and we're just kind of trying to, make it work and see what happens.
Yeah.
So for a first season iteration, I feel like they're on a good pace here. So
honestly, I think those features are futures. I think those features are actually very viable. I can see a lot of people, the interaction that would get. I feel like that would also add a lot more users to want to actually watch because I mean you don't have to watch with a TV. You can literally just watch it on your phone or whatever. So
on your phone,
a lot more accessible. I don't really have any problems with the features. Those are really good.
Yeah, I'm hoping as long as that multi-view is available on all devices, I'm looking forward to having that on my 65-inch, because that would be absolutely amazing.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
The next thing is that if you are attending an accredited college or university, you can jump in on a semi-sweet deal of Sunday Ticket for a sizable discount, bringing the ridiculously priced original plan down from $400 to a more desirable $109 for the season.
Dang.
And I'm sure you probably could even talk your parents into helping you out with the pricing, maybe, depending on if they didn't put it all into the college fund.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
Here's the rub. Student plans do come with their own set of stipulations and limitations in opposition to what the more pricey plan offers. So you are able to watch your regular Sunday afternoon games that are available through CBS and or Fox that aren't being locally broadcasted, which this includes nationally broadcasted games as well. So even I feel like that's still nice for someone like our dad who misses nearly every Bills game and is stuck down here in the South. And then in addition, quite similar to the $400 Prime channel plan, you do not get pre or postseason games. That is only offered if you're a YouTube TV subscriber. So that's pretty much why you and I weren't watching preseason games, is because we are only on the Prime channel.
Okay, that makes sense.
Lastly, and here is really where the rubber meets the road, student plans do not offer the more desired ability to jump in on the family sharing feature. The student plan only gives you the accessibility to be signed into one device at a time. And in essence, I mean, that's really what it was meant to be used for as such by a college student. So you can kind of understand where they're coming from on that. That's
fair.
point.
I understand.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you were hoping to utilize your daughter or son's student plan for nearly a quarter of the price, you'd be likely out of luck, unless your kid is simply not a fan of the NFL. But so I'm not sure if any of that kind of rubbed you the wrong way, but I feel like it was kind of reasonable.
No, not as much as previous things did, where YouTube kind of kept changing their policies and how you could do certain things, and they finally, walked it back and made everything right again. I mean, the whole student thing, I feel like that's fair. You're on your own, $109. I think that's okay. And you do lose on some of the big features, but that's like what?
It's not that big of an impact. I mean, for a student going to college, I don't really think they're going to, I don't think they're really going to care that much as far as, how they're using it at school. I think you can even add on the red zone for like $10 extra, which is not that bad when you kind of consider it. I feel like that's okay. Now, I will say real quick, for those who jumped in on the early bird special, which were actually us, we weren't actually privy to this knowledge, but YouTube is now offering the service to be paid for in the form of monthly payments over the stretch of 4 months. Before I reveal the pricing, I want to note that this option isn't currently available in 7 states to act in compliance with local requirements. So real quick, I will just state those out, no pun intended. New York, Minnesota, Georgia, Nevada, Missouri, New Jersey, and Tennessee. So
we're free, yay.
We are luckily out of that restriction. So
good.
With that clarified, for those who want the Prime channel plan, it's $100 a month. If you want to tack on Red Zone package, that would be up to $110. And then YouTube TV subscribers, your pricing would be pretty much $75 and $85 for the respective plans. So I feel like that's pretty good. $100 a month, kind of stretching it out, not making it so one big lump charge in the beginning. And because I know that was kind of hard for us because we were trying to get all that, money together and just pay for it. So it was a bit of a difficulty, but I kind of feel like if it was stretched out, it may be a little bit more doable, possibly next year, if we consider to renew it again. But that's virtually all there is. So, Dad, you can kind of go back to your wood shop or office or whatever. But I don't know if you have any closing thoughts on that, Riley.
No, not really. I'm glad they added that monthly option. It really does lessen the blow on your wallet there.
Absolutely.
So, that's really great, though.
Yeah, that's what I felt, too. Just kind of reading through and kind of seeing what they're trying. Like you were saying, I feel like they really made the sharp turn to improve what they had and kind of not make it feel like there was all these NFL restrictions that you just... It was a little bit too unbearable. So
that's the annoying part.
I could kind of sense that you were a little torn about that when we were first looking at it in the early stages of this. So, I think Dad was too. So, But with all that being said, that just about wraps up our episode. But if you do have any suggestions or anything, and you're listening on YouTube or Spotify for that matter, you can always drop a comment or even just ask a question as well. We try to check those out and kind of see what our listeners are kind of giving our feedback on. But this is JD and Riley, and we will catch you guys in the next one.
Peace out.